Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, 10th of June, 2022. And yeah, like I have been off these means for a couple of days, but some interesting developments in the world and also in Canada. And so I was just busy with like emails and research and talking to multiple people about stuff like the North and pandemic response and a bunch of other things. It just goes across the board, and so um, yeah, like I just wanted to give like a little bit more clarity on the like the Freedom Convoy and protests and movements and stuff like that. I did post it in another video, but that was before the convoy came here to Ottawa, and it was just kind of like a message, not only about peace, but also just like letting people know that there was actors that were embedded not only in the convoy but at the protest downtown, and it's like very similar ones or same actors actually that were in like other areas in the U.S. staging the Capitol riot, and part of the people that are part of the like the border stuff that happens. And then war, like you often see like the same actors and there's thousands of them, and so even though like I supported the convoy obviously, and like I even went downtown, it did make me a bit nervous because I know and knew who they were funded by, which, you know, these anonymous donors, anything over $25,000, just like look at where it comes from. And this is stuff that does to distract us whenever there's like new information being released that could get people in trouble. And then they wanted it to be a tipping point. So like that first weekend, that was when the Emergency Act was going to be first implemented, because they wanted to make it look like like it was a terrorist group involved, and there was going to be a riot scene on that Saturday, whatever that date was, at the end of January, and then that was going to be the first tipping point. And then there was like a few other ones where they had people that were playing racists, and then there was even like drunk scenes with people bringing bottles and utilizing like different monuments to elicit emotional response, and even lying about what was going on at the homeless shelters and stuff like that. And I know the director personally, and I have been volunteering at the shelters downtown for years, and so I knew that was false information, and so a lot of the media, again, these are all people that work with the people that are coordinating these things, and they get manipulated too, and they lie to Canadians, and so this is really, and the world, and it's very frustrating because it's a very different picture that's being painted than what the actual reality is, and yeah, and so anyone that's continuing to do these like freedom movements, like I support, obviously, like I have no business, telling you what to do, but you are like, that's not helping, right? Yes, you're getting awareness out there to certain people, but it's going to be the same people and the same groups that you've been preaching this stuff to for the last 2 years. So you have to change what you're doing and do something else. Yeah, like the convoys didn't work. There's still mandates. We're still being, there's just so many restrictions, and then and now that we have people in multiple levels of government that are more conformists and leftists, that removed anyone that questioned the narrative around the entire pandemic and the vaccine response and effectiveness. They've all been terminated, and I know many of them personally, of all different levels. And so that means that, like, if there's another virus that gets leaked, like in the coming future, then we're gonna have even more strict procedures implemented, and these vaccines have been proven that they were nowhere near as effective or safe as we were led to believe. And these are all deeply upsetting things to people that have got vaccinated, right? The reality is, like, I'm not anti-vax. I have a million other inoculations in me. But my own research on these specific mRNA ones led me to believe that these were not nowhere even close to being as effective as it was claimed. And I've shared enough data on that. The original trials being debunked as basically fraudulent and irresponsible, and how a lot more scientific studies have come out that show that we are better off without them. and yeah, that's frustrating too. So, like, again, when we're being forced to do things that make no sense and that can cause harm and not good and can cause spread. Oh, and by the way, monkeypox is still going on. I've shared the label of AstraZeneca, and there's a few other companies that out there that were putting chimpanzee like partial virus into the COVID vaccines that they were giving. This is not controlled. So if you have smallpox or monkeypox, whatever they want to call it, could possibly be from vaccines that you more recently inoculated yourself with, because there was not enough control measures being put on all the ingredients, and there was even heavy metals in a lot of them, silicone, distilled water, um, and other viruses. And so we have to be cautious with what we take into our bodies if we don't need it, because we could possibly not only harm ourselves and make us a stat, which doesn't help Canadians if we put ourselves if we like hurt ourselves, but yeah, just supply and demand, I guess. But I know I'm going on a rant, and it's a very divisive topic, clearly, especially in Ottawa, Canada. But if I don't speak out, who is? And so like I know that there's like word around the street that there's going to be peaceful protests, peaceful arrests, and it's supposed to be by law enforcement, like our own, that have enough data and evidence collected on like people that are in various different levels of government, that were the ones that were supposed to know better and actually knew that the vaccines were going to cause more harm than good, and were incentivized by profit margins and by titles and positions, and feeling important to be able to speak in public, but not looking at any of the data that was being shared, because they allowed ego and money and fame, or whatever you want to call it, to get in the way of actually helping Canadians. And I get that it's a really difficult thing to choose, and it's very, very tempting to choose one over the other. But you have to do the right thing, right? And so, like, even for me, based on my decisions, I wasn't able to leave Canada in a meaningful way. That was part of my job for many, many years, and I would have been very effective. I don't mean that in a oh, look at me way, but it's just I have a lot of experience with multiple levels of government, battle group operations and convoy operations, and movements and redeployments and deployments, and at all different levels, and managing thousands of people across the world. And so and even with what was going on and still ongoing in Europe, I've offered, I've emailed people, I've messaged people saying, like, I can help, I will help. And they ask me, first question is, are you vaccinated yet? That should not be the first question that people ask people that are willing to help, that have the qualifications and certifications, like me, for example, that have top secret government clearance. I've been anyway, more than willing to offer my services, and many other people like me. Again, I'm using myself as an example because I don't like to single other people out. It's fairly obvious. And so and I know that's anecdotal, but again, like, that's all I can provide. And so yeah, so mandates are still implemented in Canada. We're still policing our own, even though we should not be doing that. At the level that we're doing it, I mean, and people are still, like, allowing their own ego or their own decisions that they made early on to impact or sway their decisions even a year or two later. And it's just, I don't understand, I guess, because whenever there's new information that comes out, people should be a little bit more open-minded, because, like, that's just the way life works, and the way science works, and the way medicine works, and all that stuff. And the vaccines are still under emergency use authorization, and I'm not as well versed at articulating the scientific reasons and the medical reasons why this shouldn't have happened the way it did, and why I'm fearful of something even worse happening if something like this happens again. Brett Weinstein, he's on Dark Horse podcast, and he has some like he and his wife are both very, very educated scientists and evolutionary biologists, and they've written books and things like that. Very well informed, and really good connections and contacts that have reached out to them throughout this, and they've gotten a lot of heat for their stance on things, and trying to be open and honest about other ways of possibly treating individuals throughout, therapeutically and physically and emotionally and spiritually. And I would have to say that it's very well informed and well thought out, and there's a lot more effort that's put into videos and stuff like that by Brett Weinstein than anyone in our government right now, and he has a lot more qualifications to speak on than people like Kieran Moore, who has not even close to being an expert in his own field, let alone being, an advisor to Canadians at such a high level, and Theresa Tam as well, and Patty Hajdu. I'm throwing out names of people that are criminals and should be at the very least fired, but instead, what do? No, they just move them from one position to another position in government. Oh, you'll go from healthcare to immigration to climate to transport to no. Get out of my government, thank you very much. I'm so sick and tired of paying for people that don't have my best interest at heart or yours. And yeah, on that note, I'll put the link maybe to his video, Brett Weinstein or Stein, I don't know, and a new video that was just posted on the 6th of June, just so you can get a better understanding of the of what's going on, what went on, what can possibly come out in the future, and yeah, I hope everyone has a good day.